Woo, that's beautiful. Well, you can imagine a 7-year-old kid who, for the first time, in a house where the first house that I ever had or lived in that had electricity, my stepfather, who had just met my mother, went to the pawn shop and got his guitar and amp out. And when he started playing, I thought the sound actually was going through that little skinny wire. And this thing was, you know, became the thing that blew it up. I didn't know how it happened. I didn't know it was all about electric. I put my back against the speaker and fell asleep with that sound vibrating my back. And that hooked me on guitar forever. It became my favorite thing in the world to hear. Fender is the technical giant when you got talking about guitars and amplifiers. #1 in the world for a good reason. So I'm glad to be a part of the team in the form of designing my own or contouring my own amps and giving them a George Benson vibe. I never imagined anything like this could ever happen. It's a great privilege, and I hope that what I'm doing actually adds something to someone's life. So I'm very proud of what we did, and I'm ready for #2. The Twin Reverb is such an icon. If you ask somebody to bring you an amplifier because you're doing a gig tonight, and the guy tells you what he has, and well, I got a such and such and such, I got a Twin. You got a Twin? Ship it on over here, man, because we know what's going to happen. It's not going to let us down. It's going to holler all night long, and whatever you ask it to do, it's going to do it. In the early days, I really didn't need that much power because I was playing, 75 people, 50 people. We were doing the Vanguard in New York, one of the greatest nightclubs in music history for jazz musicians. I would turn the amp up to 3, and that room, you could hardly stay in it. So I had to really do a very critical dialing of my volume control, somewhere between 2 and 3. So what we did with the Twin Reverb, when I mentioned that was a problem I always had to your engineers here at the company, I should say to our engineers here at the company, they knew exactly what it was I was talking about. And they gave me what I call headroom, or they called it headroom. So I could open the volume up 5 or 6, and then I had more room to play. It was not so critical. I could really shape it to the room. And if you need to go to the moon, you go on to the moon. So I try to keep that down and try to get as close to the natural sound of my guitar, because that's when I'm most comfortable. When I hear what I hear when I practice at home, acoustically. Switching to electric should not change my whole concept of how I approach music. It should only give me, sound and a little volume. It should not change it altogether to what I have to adjust to, And that's what this channel is designed for. But if you put a little bit of distortion on that, if you turn it up and the distortion comes, it adds resonance to the notes. So it took me years to find that out. I found it out by accident on the Breezing album, of all things. The album sold 10 million copies. And I was always wondering, why did it sound so different? I found out that I left on the tremolo, and I had a very low intensity, and it added a nice vibrato to the notes. I never played with that before. Never did that. So I didn't know it was on. Until years later, I said, man, there's a vibrato on it. Sure enough. And, it works Works beautiful. Yeah, just the intensity needs to come down a little bit, but that's pretty much the sound that I heard when I heard the album Reason years later. I said, man, there's a vibrato on somewhere. I'm always scared to be in a room that has no resonance, no good walls, or you put too many people in any room, they soak up all the sound and kill and make everything sound flat and dull. So I can hit a little button on the front of my amp and add a little touch of reverb. It makes a world of difference. It seems like a small thing, but it isn't. And for me, reverb is not a gimmick. It's a necessity. Well, the hardest thing to come to grips with is you're getting older. So when I was a kid, I used to grab, oh, give me that amp, man. Let's get out the door and go and get this money, man, Brother, you try to snatch one of these amps today, I said, man, wait a minute. Where's the wheels at, And, but, we never know when people are going to call us they call us for everything. And my friends have the same experience all over the world. They work at restaurants, theaters, they work behind great singers, the icon musicians of the world. And they never know when they're going to get a call. It's nice if they can grab at the one they really want and they don't have to compromise. So even though 13 pounds does not sound like a lot, it is when you snatch on that amplifier and you get 13 pounds lighter, you're happy. We put it together, different scenarios, using different woods. And when I heard the sound that the solid pine made in that cabinet, and we compared it with, and that's very subtle, it's something you really have to have some good ears to know the difference between woods like that in a cabinet, with an open back on it too. So I did notice though, right away, there was something different about the sound with the solid pine. And I said, that's the one. I think it'll hold up on the road. It'll always look good. Spill something on it, you'll never know it, And they did me honors by putting my logo right in the corner. Never a mistake about who had something to do with putting this vibe together. I think we hit the jackpot with the Fender Twin. Do you play? Oh, but it's a lot of fun.